Greetings, I'm Kelly Leo, and today I'm going to demonstrate how experiential learning theory is practiced in the Video Interpreter Apprenticeship Program, or VIA. The VIA program was created in my company out of a need to bridge the gap for novice interpreters who have good skills but are in need of a place to develop their skills further so that they'll be able to take on the challenging work of a video relay interpreter. So we select 3 to 4 interpreters who just missed passing our assessment test but had great interviews, and we invite them to join a 5-week intensive skill building program, which is VIA. And if they graduate from the VIA program, they become full-time VRS interpreters at our company. If you're curious to learn more about what a video relay interpreter does, you can click on the link in the title or go to the website listed at the bottom of the slide. But basically, the VIA participants are going to be providing functional equivalents to the phone system, which means a deaf person can use the phone in their first language, just like anyone else. So let me explain just a little bit about how VIA is set up. VIA is a 5-week intensive program. I'm on site the first week, so I'm going to focus on that. And in week 1, we have a mixture of events, including classroom instruction, structured VRS, Video Relay Service, observation. We have some group work, and we also provide them with a full diagnostic assessment of the work that they did on our assessment test that they failed, and it highlights their strengths and also lets them know where they need to grow. And then together, we create an individual development plan, an IDP, for building on their interpreting skills. It's a very busy week, and in the following weeks, they work on that individual development plan and then take the assessment test again. So that's the VIA program in a nutshell. We put experiential learning theory into practice in the VIA program in 2 ways, specifically in how we follow Kolb's experiential learning cycle, as well as in how we create a supportive community of practice. First, let's talk about the experiential learning cycle in VIA. I observed a really positive impact on the VIA participants as they proceeded through each step of this cycle. So for concrete experience, I observed the interpreters feeling excited and frankly really relieved to receive this diagnostic of their work. They finally had a clear understanding of where their interpretation was lacking and how to improve it. And it really helped them keep focused and I think accelerated their ability to improve their interpreting work. And then even further benefit came in the reflective observation stage. I watched interpreters pick up tips and tricks from the experienced VRS interpreters and then reflect upon how they could incorporate that into their own work. And then, of course, I observed hours of active experimentation. They would record themselves interpreting, and we would give them feedback. Practice, practice, practice. And then finally, I observed the mentors helping the interpreters really parse out what they were learning from their experiences and what they might do to take it to the next level. I think this really helped them not to feel so overwhelmed by everything they were absorbing in the VIA program. The second way that VIA incorporates experiential learning is the VIA group of interpreters create that community of practice. So in experiential learning, when you have a community of practice, it's that group of learners who contribute their own knowledge and strengths, and then the group learns from each other's experience. So for example, sometimes we have interpreters in VIA whose first language is ASL, because they have deaf family members. And so their receptive skills are very strong, but they may not have been through a formal interpreter training program. So the formal process of interpreting, where you hear one thing, process the last thing, and you're putting out a third thing, is totally new to them. And then other members of VIA could be recent graduates of an IPP program, that's the Interpreter Preparation Program. And their understanding of the interpreting process is very good because they've been studying it. So it's usually a 2-year basic program, and then they go on to earn a bachelor's. But they haven't had the language since birth. So their receptive skills are weaker, but they certainly have something to offer in the interpretation process. So the group work in VIA really helps them benefit from each other's experience. Then, of course, a community of practice requires someone to help facilitate the learning. So in this community of practice, their experiential learning is facilitated by several trainers and mentors, and they help them identify the problems that they're having their interpretations, and they help them test out these new ideas that they're learning during the program. They have years of experience, so it's very beneficial to this community of practice to have these great folks as guides. There were several takeaways from analyzing experiential learning in VIA. First being that concrete experience motivates future learning. Often these novice interpreters just don't know what they don't know. And so to have that concrete experience of a diagnostic of their work and then to be given specific activities to work on is such a relief to them, which makes the task of improving their skills feel less overwhelming, more manageable. And I was really blown away at the hours of focus that their diagnostic inspired. Another takeaway was that reflective observation really takes learning to the next level. These novice interpreters have a hard time improving their work because they're so often out there interpreting in isolation without a team. So having this room full of expert interpreters for them to observe is really beneficial to them. They incorporate new vocabulary, they feel permission to let go of form and go for a meeting, which can be challenging for newer interpreters. So I really don't believe the interpreters would have been able to get to the next level of skill development without this observation. Another takeaway was having a safe place to experiment is crucial to skill development. The interpreters are nervous and self-conscious about their skill level. So having a place to practice their interpreting where there are no actual deaf people really helps them relax enough to make mistakes and then learn from them and move on without negatively impacting a deaf or a hearing consumer. A final takeaway was that a diverse community of practice is the most beneficial. The more diverse the backgrounds, the more signing and interpreting styles we see, the more perspective we gain. And in VRS, anyone and everyone can pop up on your screen. So the more exposure you have to different walks of life, the better prepared you're going to be successful in the VRS interpreting environment. So in summary, from my observations of the VIA program, experiential learning is very effective. It seemed to me that as the interpreters moved repeatedly through Kolb's cycle, new skills started to become second nature, moving from that short-term memory into more of their long-term memory. And then also that a community of practice really creates that safe, thriving group of learners. These VIA participants became very close over the course of VIA and really ended up being each other's best cheerleaders. And as further evidence of the program's effectiveness, the majority of the interpreters who enter the VIA program have successfully completed the program and are working for our company full-time today. I appreciate your attention to my presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through Canvas, and references can be found on the next page. Thank you so much.